If you go on, there's a Charlie Geurts Missing Facebook page, and there's some really nice photos of Charlie and Liz posted there. But they were scheduled to get married, I think, in September when all this happened. I'm going to go through a chronology, so for those of you it's been a few months, kind of remind you of what happened. But on Wednesday, January 16th at 2:03 a.m., it was a cold Wednesday morning, Charlie Geurts, 26 years of age, from Kaukauna, was here in Madison at a ag conference that was taking place at the Alliant Energy Center. And he was with a bunch of co-workers, and they had gone out that evening. And he was last seen on video leaving the east side entrance of the Sheraton Hotel. On Thursday morning, January 17th, that actually should be, we expanded and had a more coordinated ground search effort in that area. At that time, our canine and mounted resources started to come in to assist us with this. We also started to go public and really ask for the community's assistance in trying to locate Charlie. On Friday afternoon, the Geurts family arrived here at the South District at about 4 o'clock that day. Julie Foley from the Dane County Victim Witness Unit is here, and Julie helped me greet the family, and obviously there was a lot of distress. And on Saturday morning, we had 50 friends and families of the Geurtses, many from the Fox Valley area, that came to Madison and assisted us going door to door throughout the whole Winona Way, Lake Point neighborhood, distributing over 1,000+ flyers like this on that Saturday, trying to get the word out. We last met with the Geurts family that Saturday night at the Sheraton Hotel, and it was a very, very sad event because obviously this is all about closure for a family that's missing a loved one, and every day across the United States there's thousands of families that have loved ones that they are out there looking for. But they had to go home that night knowing that we were going to stay on the case and pull together every resource we had available locally here in Dane County to try to locate Charlie.
And we had 6 dog teams that worked this case, 4 from our department and then 2 from private citizens that brought in their dogs and their expertise in search and rescue. So it was quite an effort in terms of just trying to get information that will lead us to where the missing person was and what might have happened. So on the first track, the first night on the 16th, we had a dog that started at the hotel. He was presented a scent article, goes to the door that the person walked out of, and we have this on video where he walked out of a certain door, so we knew exactly where he walked. The canine team didn't know that, but then tracked down, down to the edge of Turville Bay and then along Turville Bay. And by that time that they did the track, the weather had really turned, and it was very cold and it was very windy. And so the dog was actually on the ice, walking along the edge, came up to the point, and then kind of was circling and lost the track here. Sometimes we know it ends there, and sometimes we think, well, maybe there was a turn and the person went somewhere else, and the dog didn't make the turn because of weather conditions. But I think now we know that most likely he probably walked there and either walked out into the lake from that point, or he came back and walked down towards Winona Way. So we kind of knew, and we don't know the order of things, that his odor was here on the ice and his odor was on the railroad track and up along here. So that gave us some information in terms of where to search, where to send flyers, where to kind of concentrate and try to see if we could find out what happened to him.
And then as time went on, the dogs really gave us more and more information that there's something here.
There was odor along the trees, on the trees, in this little indentation on this part of the park. So being that the dogs were showing interest in the trees and alerting on the trees and not on, ground or ice, we detected that it had to be coming in, the odor had to be coming in from somewhere in the lake, and it was accumulating on the trees. And so the dogs were telling us that. So then we thought, well, now we have to start working this area pretty heavy with the dogs on the ice. And we worked along here. The dogs caught some odor in the bay and alerted to a spot in the bay. We drilled holes. It's pretty shallow in there, but we thought, it's possible. We drilled holes, and we determined there was an item down there that had blood on it. That it could have been from a fisherman that tossed it in or something like that they had alerted to. So we eliminated this whole area with the cadaver dogs, and then we started working out away from this side of the park. We worked off of Olin Park Boat Launch, and we first started working out this way, and the dogs were catching some faint odor, but it wasn't very strong, and we thought we will go out into the lake, and this map, you know, doesn't really, we don't really give the whole size of the lake justice because it's 9,842 acres. It's almost 5 miles, and from this point until here where Charlie was located is a half a mile. So that's a half a mile out. When you're out there, you really get the size of that lake. It's pretty massive. I drive around it all the time, and I don't get that same sense. but when you're standing on the ice, you know, it's amazing. So there's a lot of space, and what ended up happening is we had spent 4, 5, 6 days out there working with different people, and when Canine-led first alerted, it was kind of a surprise because we just decided we're going to do a grid pattern, bring the dog out here, do a grid pattern towards this spot and see if we can find a spot on the ice. And sure enough, as soon as we started doing the grid pattern, Biddy alerted to an area that was about 75 feet in diameter, which would indicate that, you know, that there's a possibility. We also know there's other missing people in Madison, and so we didn't want to eliminate that possibility as well, but with all the other information we had, we thought it was a pretty good probability that it may be the missing person that we're looking for. What we had done is we used an ice auger, we drilled holes, we put a camera down. It was a fishing camera that we were loaned to from the DNR, but that only gave us 4, 5 feet visibility because it's about 35 feet deep in this area. You know, and it only gives you one angle, you know, so every 4 feet we would have to drill holes, and we're dropping the camera down 35 feet and pulling it up, and it was very labor intensive.
You know, quite frankly, we haven't done this before. That's the other thing. We haven't drilled holes in the ice looking for people. That's kind of interesting, but to find out that ultimately we were, about 119 feet off from where the body was recovered and where the dogs were hitting. And when you think we've got 10,000 acres of lake out there, we have a hunch that someone might be in the lake, and we were that close with the dogs. That's amazing.
Anybody we contacted, and we've got a whole slew of people that worked for different agencies that are private citizens, everybody helped. There's not one person that said, I don't have time. Everybody helped. Milwaukee PD, the county, it was just incredible. When the ice melted, a private citizen went out on a boat. He got the coordinates, the GPS coordinates from Karen, and the first nice day, which was a couple days ago, he got his boat on the lake, and he said, you know, I'm just going to go by there and see, you know, if I can come up with anything. His very first pass, he saw something, and because of the mobility of the boat, which we didn't have when we were working with Milwaukee PD and their camera, initially he thought it was weeds. You know, it was you get large clumps of weeds, you know, that accumulate under the water. And so he was able to move around and get different angles, and then sure enough he saw that this looks like it's a body.
Had 2 divers go out onto the lake to the area that there was a marker buoy. High winds, whitecaps, and so it was very difficult. Visibility was approximately 18 to 20 inches. The water was quite cold, and after approximately 10 minutes of bottom time, we were able to locate the person on the bottom.
The one thing that I heard consistently every time I had communication with the family is that they knew that this was a labor of love. They did this because they needed to bring Charlie home to his family and to his fiance. And so when they went out there, this wasn't like work as usual. This was clearly a labor of love that this family is so deserving of. They're probably the nicest people that we've met in a very long time.
The dogs gave us the information that kept us looking.
They led us to Charlie.